Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today we're going to be talking about the Survivor HUD update that came to the game because I feel like it's been out long enough that I feel like people have mostly adjusted to it as a tool that people are using now out in Dead by Daylight. And I want to talk about the positives of it and the negatives that kind of deeply concern me about it that I'm seeing pop out now that it's been up for a while. And is this really okay, or is it something we should keep? Let's go ahead and talk about it. So the Survivor HUD, if you don't know, you've been living under a rock for the past couple weeks, is in the last mid-chapter update, Dead by Daylight released a Survivor HUD that now tells you the actions of all your teammates, whether they're on a gen, whether they're on a totem, whether they're healing, whether they're completing killer actions like disabling traps, and also it gives you the notifier of how much progress each individual gen has. So basically all the information that you would be able to relay in a comms, in a four-man Swift, is now available to you base kit in the game besides specific positions of like, oh, we're running on this side of the map, or we're over on this side of the map. Besides something oddly specific like that, you have basically 80% of the information that an average four-man Swift has at any given point just by looking over at the Survivor HUD. Now, this has been in the works for a while, and honestly, pretty needed for a while, because solo queue has eventually always been the weakest form of play in Dead by Daylight. Even a struggling Trapper or a struggling Myers still isn't as weak as a clueless solo queue teammate with 3 bad teammates just struggling to make anything put together at all in terms of a DBD match. It is just the weakest form of play, and it always has been, and it's kind of been well known about that. So the devs have been trying to figure out some way to kind of bring solo queue up to a place that doesn't feel like you're being punished just because you're playing by yourself. Because if you did not know, Pianitz recently said in a forum post that he made when talking about people claiming that they're always facing Swifts, is that even though there are a lot of people together in duos, triples, still a majority of the game is still held up with solo queue. That is still the primary way people play the game. So not only was it the weakest form of play, but it was also the most common form of play. So something needed to happen to it eventually. Now there are a lot of great positives that have come with this, like for example, I feel like saves are way more coordinated now that there's the Survivor HUD on the side. There is no indicator on the left side showing who's going for the save, but if you see one person on a gen, one person healing, and you're on a gen, you go, the rest of my team is occupied, I should probably be the one to go get the save. And little stuff like that makes it to where people aren't being left on hook, people aren't getting into a situation where they're being proxy camped by the killer because you left them on hook too long, and that stuff's really, really nice. Also, it's good to know when your survivors are playing inefficiently. Like, I look over on the left side of the hut and I see people doing nothing. So I should probably hop on a gen because I know we're not applying any pressure to the match at all because I see a bunch of blanks over by their Survivor HUD. Or for example, I see this a lot. I'll see survivors on the same gen when I'm playing Survivor, and I'll go, we're at 4 or 5 gens. Everybody is pounding the same gen. We need to split our pressure up a little bit. So I need to make sure I get on a different gen because they're just, up on the same gen, which is not very efficient. There's a lot of little stuff like that that makes solo queue Survivor way, way, way more manageable and makes it not feel as much of a terrifying and punishing experience, which is really, really good, and we needed that. Now, this is the part where I start to kind of depart from thinking of this uniquely positively, because it's something that I've realized more and more as the weeks have gone on that the Survivor HUD has been out, is that the Survivor HUD, specifically when it comes to telling you the exact gen progress, it doesn't just tell you what gen that people are on a gen, it tells you the exact progress of the generator that your friend is working on. And I think what's come out of that is as people have gotten used to it, as people have gotten used to solo queue with the Survivor HUD, I feel like this has made even the average Survivor team, even if they're a bunch of solos, incredibly gen efficient. It feels like in the 6.1 update, they infamously decided that they're going to bring gens from an 80-second to finish number up to 90 seconds. So they essentially nerfed the time at which it takes to do gens and made them take way longer. I would say now with the Survivor HUD being in the game, that 90 seconds is essentially nullified. It feels like gens just fly off the shelves because of the extra information that's given to you based on the Survivor HUD that, oh, hey, somebody's on a gen over here, somebody's on a gen over here. People are able to, like I was mentioning earlier, way, way, way easier find ways to split up, find ways to hop on gens together because they know somebody's on a gen somewhere. It's just, there gives you so much information on how to do the gens more efficiently. If you have proof, like I said, if you have proof and you see somebody on a gen on the HUD, you can go find that person because you know somebody's on a gen somewhere and go, get your proof value without having to, run bond. You just search around. And on the flip side, if you're at the beginning of the match and you see one person on a gen, you can, split up at the beginning and come together later, which is the most optimal way to do generators. And also, infamously, this is probably the biggest aspect of this that feels probably the most sweaty and painful, is that now, usually when the last gen pops and the exit gate is like almost immediately done, you used to attribute that to a Swift. They called out that the gen was almost done, so that somebody on the team already ran towards the door. Now, any player can do that as long as they're paying attention. You can look over the left side of the screen at one gen, see that the last gen is 99, and run to the door. So you have people bringing stuff like Wake Up, or not even with Wake Up, but just like going to the door right away or sitting at the door right away and optimally just pulling that down right away, guaranteeing the escape. And it's just little stuff like that has just made the average player in DBD way, way, way too efficient at gens. And it's starting to just feel disgusting. And I don't know if this is where I'm going to levy you guys. I'm going to ask you guys what you feel, because this is where I'm kind of lost on it. Is this just a greater symptom of the fact that Prove hasn't been significantly adjusted? Is it because BNPs are still in the game? Is it because Hyper-Focused Stakeout hasn't been adjusted? Is it a symptom of the meta, perhaps? Or is it a symptom of the HUD? Because that's kind of a, as much as I don't like to refer to whataboutism and Dead by Daylight, it's part of the full picture. Are we experiencing more survivor efficiency because people are bringing Prove, Hyper-Focused Stakeout, BMPs to fight 4-man slowdown killers? Or is it because the Survivor HUD is allowing us to now do gens way, way, way more efficiently than before, and that on top of the Survivor Gen Rush that has not been adjusted is now creating kind of like a perfect storm of frustration? Or is it solely just the perks and the meta that needs to be adjusted, and once the perks and the meta are adjusted, the Survivor HUD won't feel so bad? That's kind of where I'm at, and that's kind of like the main point of me making this video. Because like I said, there's aspects to the Survivor HUD that are really, really good. Like seeing if somebody's on a totem, seeing if somebody's going for the save, seeing if somebody's healing up. Like there's stuff like that that's nice, but is it too much? I feel like knowing the exact gen progress and seeing where people are on gens has like really amped up the gen efficiency of the average Dead by Daylight match. And I want to know from your perspective, do you think the meta is just too focused on gens, or do you think the Survivor HUD is actually the problem here? Please let me know down in the comments below. That's going to be it for today's video, friends. I actually do really, really want to know this. I know I usually make a defining thing here, but it's just been on my mind lately, and I actually do want to level your thoughts and opinions on this, because I want to make like a formal thought in my head of like how my take on this, because it definitely seems it is entering my field of view. I'm like, oh, that feels like that's a problem. But I want to know what the general community is feeling about it before I put my position down, or whatever phrasing you want to use there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video. But if I do not, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.